Hello, everybody. So, got a new story. Let's see what's going on in the world today. After cases of discrimination against women on buses, Prime Minister calls to punish offenders. Yeah, all right. You can't have discrimination. These ladies a chance. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday condemned discrimination against that's Israel, right? Discrimination against secular women by bus drivers or by Haredi passengers following a recent series of such incidents. Secular, so that means they're not part of the faith, right? In a terse statement, Yahoo called for anyone who discriminates against passengers on public transportation to be punished. What is this? Uh, the state of Israel is a free country in which nobody will set limits on who can use public transportation and in which nobody will dictate where he or she will sit, he said. Those who do this are breaking the law and should be punished. Okay, so secular. So it's probably foreigners then. It's probably a case of foreigners not upheld to the culture and getting discriminated against. It's my assumption. Transportation Minister Miri Regev, a member of Netanyahu's Likud party, similarly vowed to no tolerance for the phenomenon, saying any case of discrimination against female riders should be dealt with severely. Yeah, should be. Can't have that. She also said 2 drivers have been suspended over the latest incidents until inquiries are wrapped up. Suspended, not fired. I again clarify there will be no exclusion of women on public transportation, period. So no exclusion. Okay. The condemnation came a day after a bus driver ordered a group of teenage girls to sit in the back and cover themselves up due to their supposedly immodest dress. Yeah. Called it, knew it was a cultural thing. So they're going over there, they're dressed in a little immodest, or which is, it's the culture up in the States. Ladies like to look promiscuous because apparently that is a personality, and ladies love to show their personalities. So they go over there, show them too much, teenagers, inappropriate. So, like a father, he's like, all right, you're going to sit in the back and cover that up until you learn to dress yourself properly, and I'll get you where you need to go. But for the next time, you're going to know not to dress like that. Doesn't seem it is technically discrimination, but not. Yeah, I guess it is because of their gender, because of how they dress. But I don't. It's not really that he's like discriminate. Like, this seems like it's blown out of proportion a little bit, because it said they're being excluded, but they're not being excluded. It's just simply teenage girls kind of being like a father figure, kind of, and it's just like, don't dress like that. It's inappropriate. So sit in the back and cover up. But it didn't kick them off the bus. So why did it become a story of women being discriminated and excluded? Like this, you could say, okay, they're not allowed to, condemn secular women from dressing this way. That's fine. But then you made this whole thing where you're saying the women are being discriminated against because they're women and all. That's not what's happening. It's not what's happening at all. In a recording of the incident, which occurred on a Native Express 885 line from Ashdod to Kfar Tavor, the driver could be heard dismissing the girl's complaints when one told him she felt humiliated. Yeah, he was trying to humiliate you. He's trying to shame you for the way you're dressed. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It makes it sound like they were being tortured or something. shaming them for dressing a certain way. It's not enough with this nonsense. You don't have religious people in your home. What? You live in a kibbutz, detached from the world. You live in a Jewish state, and you should respect the people living here. The fact that you live in kibbutz and were raised this way, I'm sorry for you, the driver could be heard saying. Oh, okay. You don't have religious people living in your home because the way they're dressed, no one's told them they can be dressed like that. And yeah, they should respect the state that they're in. You can't go to a foreign state and just dress however you want and use public. Yeah, I mean he's making some sense. He sounds like an older dude. He got a little bit frustrated. He probably overstepped his bounds a little bit. Get that, but this whole article is kind of being blown out of proportions. He handled it like a father, not like some sort of giant bigot that's trying to discriminate against women. He sounds like a father, to be honest. Also, Sunday, Tzevi Erez, an 88-year-old woman from Givatim, told the Kan public broadcast that a bus driver repeatedly ignored her when she asked him if she had gotten on the correct line. When the woman's husband asked this driver why he wasn't responding to her, the driver said he refuses to speak to women. Okay, that's straight up discrimination. That's a weird thing. Why become a bus driver? You have that thing. And that's just one guy. I was deeply hurt. Come on. I'm a Holocaust. What does this have to do with the Holocaust? You're just confused about whether or not you want to ride bus. You could have changed from asking the driver to asking some other person on the goddamn bus. You don't have to be a victim in every circumstance. This is just an easily solvable problem. Like, this guy's an asshole. Asshole bus drivers. Just move on with your day. Why is this a thing? It's this one guy. It's not like you wouldn't have made a big deal about it if like every bus you went on, some freaking driver was sexist. Like this makes no sense, man. The woman said, I've suffered enough. You haven't, because you still feel entitled. I came to the state of Israel and suddenly I'm in Iran. Suddenly, because this one guy, you were there with your husband, you were perfectly safe. You could have asked anybody else. Suddenly, you're in a different place. Tomorrow, they'll tell me to cover my face. They? Who is they? Is this bus driver following you around? God. Just can't stand people sometimes. The Dan Bus Company put out a statement apologizing for the incident and said that it had personally contacted Erez and her husband, though Erez said that no one from the Dan had spoken to her. Of course she does. Two similar instances occurred last week. A bus driver in Ashdod told a woman that she could not board a bus because it was meant only for ultra-Orthodox men, and in Tel Aviv, a driver berated a woman for wearing a tank top. Yeah. The bus was strictly restricted based on their religion, because you're in Jerusalem, and they discriminated because of the religion, which probably, if it was public transport and they're not allowed to do that, deal with it in that way. Deal with it that way. But the tank top thing, I mean, it seems like particular drivers, man, like get younger drivers if you want them to be less restrictive. Some so-called Mehadrin, strictly kosher buses, so no pigs on the bus, which enforce gender separation to accommodate ultra-Orthodox passengers by having men sit in the front and women in the back, operated in Israel until a High Court of Justice ruled in 2011 that the practice was illegal. There you go. You take legal action now. But apparently some of the bus drivers still remain, and they were still trying to practice that on the sly. because they felt like they were above the law and their religion, rules. So yeah, I get that. That should be part of the outrage. The religious restrictions that were against the law, that should have been the outrage. They were still practicing something from the past that has now been outlawed, and they need to be a change in the bus driving community. But that woman with that one driver and the girls, like, that was a little bit out of proportion. All right. Anyways, until next time.